Another stunt that interested me was getting run over by a car. I think, I'd like to be able to do that, just to be run over, but not to get hurt. On all stunts, you don't want to get hurt, and how can you plan? How can you work it? And being young at that time, and infallible, nothing could hurt you. You think you've got it all right in your brain, and one day I went to the next door neighbour. We're pretty good friends, and said, "I'd like you to run over me in your car. Would you do that for me?" And he said, "What, are you bloody crazy?" He said, "Yeah, anything goes wrong and I kill you, they lock me up for the rest of my life." And he said, "No, I'm not that silly. Go away." So it was a couple of years went by, and I played around with it in that time. Tried in my mind different things of how I could work it, that I wouldn't get hurt, and a chance came. My brother Ian came with me. He does entertaining and that, and I said, "Well, I'd like to get a write-up in a magazine. About time I got some publicity for myself." So we went to this magazine. I think it was Pics or People. I don't know now. It's a long time ago, and it was a woman reporter, Lillian Roxon was her name, and I put my scrapbook in front of her and told her all the things I could do, and all that kind of stuff, and I even I said I can hang myself, get Ian to jump off a table onto my stomach, and smash a rock on my chest with a 14-pound sledgehammer and get run over by a car. I put that in. I thought, this is my opportunity. And she said, "Well, a lot of people say they can do things, and it comes out the day that they can't." And I said, "I can do all this." So we made an arrangement to meet at Nielsen Park in Sydney, and on the day we went there, I had my girlfriend Wendy with me, and Ian, he was going to do the jumping and drive over me in the car, and so it came. I hung myself off a tree. Ian smashed a rock and jumped into my stomach and from a table, and she was really impressed with the whole lot, especially hanging from a tree in Nielsen Park. And so then the car stunt came, and I got all ready. I laid under the car in between the front and back wheel. I thought when the car starts, I roll into it and it'll run over me, like up and over. And I had it all worked out in my brain, and I sure, today's the day, I'm going to get run over. And I wondered, it took so long to get this stunt right, just where I wanted. And right at the last minute, Ian pulled out. He said, "Lillian, he's never been run over before." And I said, "Shut your mouth. I want to do it today. Today's the day." And she, "Oh, I don't know about that." She said, "I tell you what we do. I like all the stunts that you've done, and all we do is we'll put a jack under the car, jack it up, and Wendy, your girlfriend, can cover by kneeling beside you, and you won't see the jack." And I said, "Oh, no, I don't want to do that. No." She said, "Yeah, it'll be all right." So I was talked into it, really against my will. And I went home that day. I didn't say a word going home. I was so angry. Yeah, I had it in the palm of my hand. I could have done it. And it was taken away from me. So the newspaper come out, or the write-up came out, and I went to the gym that day, and all the guys were talking about they've seen it and all that, and they said, well, we've seen you smash a rock in your chest and you hang yourself, but I think that car thing is a bullshit. I think you cheated in that. And I was fuming. To be called a liar, more or less, and you can't do it, and you're a fake. I said, no, I'm no fake. I did it. I really did it. And I tell you what, if you don't believe me, get in the car. Whoever wants to run over me can run over me, and I'll do it right now. And one guy said, I'll run over you. And I said, okay, you're on. And we at the gym, they also had a photographer studio next door, and he said, I'll come and take a photo of it. And I said, okay. So we all marched down to the park, just not far from the gym. And then when I got to the park, and then I heard a car go and racing around like mad and pulling up to screeching to a stop. And this was the guy that kind of run over me, and I thought, is he bloody serious? This is, my life's on the line for this. And I went up to him and I said, mate, I said, no bullshitting in this. It's fair dinkum. So you listen to everything I say, and no fancy stuff with the car. And I thought you'd back out, he said. I said, no, I'm not backing out. I'm fair dinkum. I said, I can do it, and I do it. So I laid down between the front and back wheel of the car, and I was nearly ready to say go. And a young kid said, mate, mister, your feet are sticking out from underneath the car on the other side. And I go, oh shit, I didn't think of that. So I had to pull my feet up right under the car, and that was hard, like to get your feet out of the wheel. If I'd given the command to go, it would have broke both my legs. So you're learning all the time. So just for a young kid, he saved me from having broken legs and maybe something else. And I said, go, and boom, the car went over me, knocked the breath out of me, and but I was still alive. It worked. And I said, I told you it worked, told you I wasn't a fake. And in myself, I was so happy. I was, I've succeeded. This is fantastic. It's good. And as I got home, and I said to Mum, I've just been run over by a car. She said, what do you want to do that for? And I go, oh, okay. So that was the only reaction I got from my mum. It was a few months later when we had to wrestle at Cooma down the Snowy River. Don had made arrangements for us to do a show down there, and to do some publicity for the show, like get some people interested in it. I was to wear a mask, and I'd be the Phantom Strongman, and I'd be wrestling that night, and they'd tell you, who I was, So Don had arranged before, without me knowing, he came to me, he said, look, I've done this, I arranged for you to get run over. Would that be all right? I went a bit overboard, he said, and I said, yeah, okay. And that was to be run over in the main street of Cooma at 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon. So it was in the newspapers and everything like that. And then he come up to me and said, "Oh, we have a trouble with the police. They want you to sign a paper at the police station that you're doing entirely at your own risk, and if anything happens, well, that's your misfortune and not ours." And I said, "Yeah," and makes you think when stuff like you don't think about that, and then you go, "Oh yeah, I could get hurt," and it's, getting run over by a car. It's not every day people do it, and so they finished up having an ambulance standing by, which all looked good and good for publicity, and there was a big crowd turned up that day, but I asked Ron, that was Ron Hansen, who was one of the wrestlers, to run over me. He said, "Yeah, I'll run over you anytime." And I said, "No, I was serious." So I told him what I wanted and how I wanted, and I was in a mask, like, as a phantom wrestler and all that kind of stuff. And he said, "Okay," and the time came, and I said, I got under the car and I sung out, "Go." Nothing happened. And I'm thinking, come on, I'm all right in the cramped in position and that. Go. Still nothing happened. Then I sung out again, louder, "Go, go, go." And boom, and the wheel spun. He spun the wheels, and the car ran over me with wheels spinning on my chest. And go, and I took the wind way out of me. I was really winded, and I've got this mask on. And Don come up to me. He said, "How are you going? You all right?" I couldn't breathe, and I couldn't say yeah, I'm okay. And he goes, you could see the relief on his face. And that night I showed him my chest where the car wheel went over me and took a bit of skin off. And you can see the tie mark more or less on me. And you go, "Oh, that was bad," So got over that, and that was a bit of shock to me. It was the second time I got run over, and it was, a bit frightening. And so then, about a month later or so, I was getting run over for a charity turnout, and I was under the car, and Don was standing beside me, or kneeling beside me, saying, "You okay? You okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm okay." And the sweat was pouring off him. He was so worried that, And I gave the command to go, and the car ran over me. And I thought, "Oh, that was a piece of cake." Didn't feel it. It's like going to the dentist, and you're sitting there in the waiting room going, "Oh, I don't want to go. I don't." And I felt that under the car, "Oh, I don't know." And when the car went over me, I thought, "Oh, that was a piece of cake." Yeah, I'd never be worried about that again. And later on in life, I got a plank and a board on my chest, and the car ran over me fully, not just between the front and back wheels, which was pretty dodgy in those days. You could be asking for trouble, and this way with the car and the plank and the car running over fully, it looked a lot better, and it still took a lot of strength, and you had to have a good air in your chest, because if you didn't have any air, you'd just crush everything. So when the car's run over, you've got to really, all the muscles in your chest and everything have really got to work for you, because if they collapse, you're in deep trouble. And that was the way I started with the car stunt. And I got run over on broken glass, and I got run over at high speed where I just had one plank on one side of my body, and the car comes racing at me. It gets on the thing and goes through the air and lands, a few feet away from me, which that is pretty dangerous, because if the car's running towards you and you see he's in the wrong spot, you can't say, hey, stop. So you've got to rely on the driver, and just before he gets to the plank, he's in a blind spot to where he's lining up to you, you see. So he's got to be spot on, because if he misses and he falls off the plank and lands on top of you, it's all over, Red Rover. That's the way it is. And I like the stunt. It looked good. I only did it once on the Mike Walsh show, and I never did it again. At Berkshire Park, we did a lot of practice on it to get it right. He'd run up and back off, run up and back off, and so I can feel the weight of the car as it hit the plank, and so it didn't knock the wind out of me, and I could judge, when to hold my breath properly and when to do this and do that, and it looked quite a good stunt. And it was only on the Mike Walsh show that I did it for television, and I never ever got a movie of it. I never got in those days I didn't worry about it so much, and I didn't record it. And now when I want the recording, I can't find that. Like Mike Walsh was working for Channel 10 at that time, and the 2 years or so he worked at Channel 10, I can get no copies of any of the stunts I did, which is a real pity.